and we should be live now. Woo! Welcome back. It's been a while. I think we had... What did we have? We had people not able to play. Oh, no. I had to work. That was a thing. And then I got stabbed in the eye by a flying projectile.
In fairness, I was also unable to play.
Yes, yeah, and actually, Steven won't be able to play a whole bunch of weeks in the future, but that's okay. We'll figure something out. So, without further ado, when last we left off, you had all killed a wonderful pitch pudding, I believe, a giant dwarven creature, and Ragus had gotten a red ruby embedded in his skull, so he now matches Dimitri, though they're like the two faces of a death metal band. Dimitri has the black obsidian emerging from his skull, and Ragus has the red ruby, the scarlet ruby.
We are now horny brothers.
All of that makes me very happy.
Yeah. Ragus now has the curse of King Thrace the Nothing Fierce.
Yes, that. So we're gonna take it from like a beat after that, I think, because we had a little bit, and I remember somebody was like, "Now I need probably Eladin. Now I need a long rest." That's definitely not how you talk. So I think you're like, "Now I need a long rest." And on that note, let me just look at some buttons. Passive perceptions. Ooh, such high ones. All right. Isilme and Fleos and Dimitri. So so let's take it from there. So Eladin, you just said, "I think I need a long rest."
I do. It's not a joke.
I would probably not be all right with it too.
Yeah. So you're in the tower. You still haven't undone.
Open.
Like, remember, there's the chain that's blocking everything, and there's. I don't think you went into the room that had the giant in it either, right?
No, I don't think so.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Well, Isilme went in it to fight the giant. So, there was that.
I was at the door.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. We didn't explore yet. We were just kind of in the doorway.
Right.
So I'll explore the room.
Yeah,
look around.
You should do that while I catch my breath.
All right, so you go into the room to begin exploring it, and you hear. So it basically, there's these large double doors, and then there are pillars throughout the room. There's still smoldering, glowing from all these dead bodies of all the creatures that were there. Because remember, all of them, the Azers, even the giant, the dwarf king, kind of emitted light, and so there's still a lot of smoldering light. And at the far side of the room is a large opening, just open to the sky beyond, and you see this bridge that spans between the two islands all the way to the opposing tower. And you can see that the opposing tower is aglow. And it's not a glow like it's lit on fire, it's that every single window has a light in it, and the lights are throbbing almost rhythmically. And you hear what kind of sounds like... It's a distant din. The sound almost reminds you of like paper, like paper rubbing together, like that, but many thousands of pieces of paper. And Fleos, where are you at?
I look at Ragus. Is his horn throbbing?
It is.
In time with that noise.
Is his horn throbbing? Well, that's clearly a question for him to answer. You don't see anything irregular about his horns throbbing or lack of throbbing.
Okay.
It feels warm for sure. I don't know. I feel warm, but then also strong. Like I want to perceive flames and murder, but nothing unusual.
I was gonna say, so par for the course for you.
Just slightly warmer than usual, I would say. Slightly stronger. Okay. I'm not sure how true that is, but I don't know. I don't feel bad.
Okay, and you always were worried about having these things. It is not a bad thing. I think it will be okay.
Fleos, where are you at?
I forget exactly where I was at. I believe I was out in the hallway. I will thank my the surviving members of my flock and wave them away to go home. And then overhearing this conversation, and of course nervous at the prospect of somebody else being taken over by strange gemstones, I'm going to keep an eye on, well, both Dimitri and Ragus, actually.
Excellent. So I pulled up the map. So yeah, you were in the hallway. Assuming you maybe, are going between a little bit between the giant double doors that opened and whatnot. You also can perceive this kind of sound coming from the distant tower. And I realized I was broadcasting Roll20 to Twitch. So don't go, rewind that feed or something. I know you can't, but it showed the map that you're going to be playing on next. I don't know if anyone saw it. Did any of you see that?
I was looking and didn't see that was your broadcast.
Good. Excellent. Okay. All of that being said, yes. Islame, what are you doing? Since you're the one who's most clearly seeing this, since you're exploring that room.
Yeah.
But I have no idea where this sound is coming from.
It's from the opposite tower. The tower is like 200 feet away, 300 feet away about. And it's a bridge.
I wouldn't mind resting a bit, I gotta say though.
What's that?
I wouldn't mind resting a bit either though, but I guess this is not a safe place to stay.
Lucius, you have something to add?
Is there ever a safe place?
While these two are kind of having a conversation about them being all right, I'm just going to peel back and check out that room that the fire blob came out of. It was like an office or something, right?
Yeah, it was a library that had smoldering books.
I'm just going to peer through it, see if any spines are salvageable. You know what I mean?
Spines of books. Give me an investigation. In the meantime, Islame, you see that the lights are getting a little bit more intense, and two doors on the far side of the bridge open up, and a fiery light floods out, and you see what appear to be, hundreds of floating fiery orbs moving inside of the space beyond the two doors that have opened.
Does this seem at all similar to when the undead king died, quote unquote?
Well, when he died, I think there was almost everything was dispelled in its own way.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it doesn't seem exactly similar to that.
Okay. I'm relaying this to the group for whoever can't see it. Guys, there's some fiery energy moving around.
So, I go and take a look.
Warm boy.
Do they look?
Go stand inside.
Eladin, what were you saying?
Do they look anything like the will-o-wisps we saw before?
Imagine a flaming will-o-wisp.
Okay.
At least from what you can see in the distance. Well, at least from what Isilme can see in the distance. You said you're resting your eyes, bro.
Well, I mean, at the sound of fireball creatures,
You don't hear them.
I think our best bet is to get this chain up and get back on the ship and move.
All right.
And try and get out of here.
All right.
Aye.
Excellent. So, Islame, why don't you give me an investigation of the room? Lucius, how'd you do on your investigation of the library?
Oh, that was a whopping 10.
You go.
Well, it's better than my 7.
Nice.
I'll go do the investigation checks from now on.
Lucius, you're looking through the room. You don't really see anything particularly impressive or meaningful. A lot of these are all. Do you speak Dwarven?
I do speak Dwarvish.
Oh, yeah. So there's a bunch of titles that you can kind of make out, but they all seem a little lofty and high level, and not necessarily things that kind of spike your interest. And most of them are very damaged.
Or anything.
Isilme, you look around the room and, you're kind of doesn't seem like there's too much here, but there is a large, crank on one side of the one wall near the bridge. Just a large crank. And it seems like it probably won't spring a trap and probably will be fine.
And probably might take us where we need to go.
So
I'm gonna point it out.
Do you want me to take a look at the crank?
Sure. Second set of eyes can't hurt.
Yeah, make sure that it's not gonna like open the gates of hell and some shit.
All right, what type of... Are you going to actually, like, look at it and try and figure out what's going on with it? Or are you like, I'm going to check to see if it's magical?
No, more the first one.
Okay.
Like I want to try and see if I can, like, see that the crank is connected to a chain that maybe runs along the wall or something.
I'm gonna assist.
Oh, you're going to assist. The dwarf is going to assist in the dwarven stronghold? All right, in that case, we can say it's advantaged. Give me an advantage. This is going to be an investigation because we're looking generally around, trying to figure things out.
It's just gonna be a flat investigation because I have disadvantage on ability checks until I want.
Yeah, maybe the dwarf should do it, but you said you were. So now, if you're disadvantaged and he's giving you advantage, do you have a big zero, like normal? Just add, like...
It's fine. I got a 26.
You're fine. You're fine. You know, there's big heavy chains. They lead into the ceiling, and you kind of like bop your head out across the out the door. You know where the bridge is, and you can see the chains leading down, and below you, amidst all the surf, you can see those large chains and many like pulley systems, and clearly something that increases the amount of torque pulling on them, so that it's not just you pulling the weight of a chain that spans 300 feet.
Yeah, I think this might do it, guys. And then I quickly back out of the room and leave the door to do it.
All right. So, are we opening this thing or turning this thing? So I start grabbing onto it.
Let's get
Are we
up.
sure about this?
I'm as sure as I can be.
Are we sure about
we do.
anything?
You can check it for traps, but that's about it.
So the orbs of fire begin moving out across the bridge. Islane, peering at them through the darkness, you see bat-like wings protruding from the fireballs, and these kind of faces that reminisce of a bat as well. It's almost like a bat was lit on fire with some type of napalm, and then is still alive and flying towards you. Except there's about 100 so far, streaming out in this light of fire. That's just like they almost coalesce into one big fireball because they're so close to one another.
Okay, guys, the weird fireballs are getting extra creepy and bat-like and heading this way, so I think we need to move it.
Okay, so I start moving the thing.
All right, give me a strength check.
Well, easy. Straight up strength?
Yeah.
I got a 22.
22, excellent. So Ragus kind of pushes you all aside, cracks his knuckles, and his big man paws just grab hold of the crank, and he just starts turning, and for a moment he's straining, and you see veins bulging in his muscles, and you can almost swear that you see his muscles bulge extra and fill with blood in front of your eyes, and then it moves and it releases this loud creaking sound, just as it's spinning, and that you hear below you the clinking of heavy metal chain connections smashing against the side of the wall, and and you see that the chain has been lowered into the water so that it's below the keel of your vessel.
I walk back from the other room and I'm like, hey guys, that room is fucked. Ragus though, man, you're looking good there, bro. Besides the whole thing up here.
You see the ruby protruding from his skull glowing subtly red, and veins of red working across his face and his muscles. And there's almost a little bit of a smoldering sensation around his hands where they meet the steel of the crank.
Wait, do I have a smoldering stare?
Of course.
Okay.
Did the fire bat will-o-wisp things react at all to the change in the chain?
They're coming closer.
But, like, did they accelerate or something?
No, they're flying at a steady, fast.
Follows.
Like,
Looks
speed.
like our boat can get out. How about we get back on it?
Let's haul out.
Get all the fuck out of here and maybe get some rest in it.
Yeah, let's
Sounds good.
head back.
All right, we'll expedite this.
All right. Because these will-o'-the-wisps are screaming towards us, can we see our boat from where we are? Like, is there a window?
Well, there's the giant bridge, but they're on.
Well, I mean, like there's a giant bridge, so there's like a portcullis then that leads out onto said giant
No,
bridge.
the bridge is open air. Like, you could just walk out on it right now. But if you recall, in the hallway were 2 windows opposed from each other. One that sees onto the side where your boat is not, one that sees onto the side where your boat is.
Okay, all right. Then I'm gonna go back to that window and I'm gonna hop out of it and I'm gonna turn into a raven and just fly down to the boat and start getting it ready. And I will yell to the captain as I am doing so that I'm going to start prepping us and that the rest of you should do your best to catch up.
Excellent. All right, yeah.
Great.
Before you see Fleos transforming as he says that, and it's like he jumps towards the window, and as he jumps towards the window, whoosh, and there's a burst of feathers and flesh that melts away from him, and he's out the window. And there's just like a sloshing, kind of fatty, gelatinous skin left over.
Show off.
So,
And then I'm gonna
so does he have to like fly towards the boat, or is it straight beneath?
It's not straight beneath. He'll have to fly a bit.
Okay. Never mind. All right, boys. Let's haul ass.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
I'm not about to fight
Doing it.
anything.
All right, so you
Hey,
just
hey, wizard.
like.
Do you have
breathing?
that? Do you have that thing that lets you not plummet to the ground?
I do.
Can we? Do you have the ability to use that right now? We can all just go straight out the window.
Well, that's why I was asking. Like, I don't want us all to end up in the water and then have to swim to the boat. It might be faster for us to actually run in the building. But I am
It's the
capable.
captain's call.
About how far away from? If we were to drop straight down from the window, about how far away is the boat?
300 yards, 400 yards.
How much
Given
is that
my
in meter?
great mathematical talents, would I assume that it would be faster to swim from the straight down below the window to the boat, or
No,
go through
straight down the window will bring you to like rocky ground, right? The tower's not this like. If you want to go on the water, you have to jump off the bridge.
Oh, and we don't want to go on the bridge.
Yeah.
All right, so
So if you
let me
split
phrase
it,
the question: if I can get us safely onto that rocky area, is it feasible for us to get to the boat? And if so, is it faster?
Yeah, it would definitely be faster than traversing the entirety of the downstairs space.
great.
All right,
So
let's
do
jump,
it.
kids.
I'm
Alright, I'm gonna
assuming
wait to make sure that
finding
everybody's
out-
safe heading down before I decide to go as well, because I don't trust Elodie.
So yeah, I'm.
I am going to cast a quick prayer and cast bless on us.
And then how many of there are us? What? That was
Including yourself, there are 5 who would need to be transported.
perfect.
Chris
This spelled
Leo's
us 5. So I join hands. I say some sort of snarky limerick, and then I jump out the window.
And with us being blessed, which should, if I remember correctly,
The next should D4
yeah.
if you need to make checks.
Excellent.
We're falling
So
slowly.
is everybody jumping through the window then?
Yeah, but I go last because I don't trust them.
Yeah, I kind of shrug, like, come on, Ragus, and then jump.
Okay, everybody's
All
doing
right.
this, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, you
Go
jump. Ragus, you look back, and just as you do, you see that the swarm has begun to fill the large space that the crank was in, and they're just flying around the dead bodies. Some of them begin picking viciously apart the bodies, and they smolder and burst into flames. And you see that they look ravenous and angry, and you feel a slight kindredness to them, almost as if they seem like they could be your fellows. Like you feel like these should be part of you in some way, shape, or form. And then that kind of connection is broken, and you turn around and you jump through the window.
Okay.
Do you need me to roll anything to start prepping the ship, or is that a given because it's been my job?
It's a given because it's your job. I'm not going to make you have the off chance of being like, what is a boat? So no, you.
I just forgot the fight was so rough.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
What do I do? My bum is on a boat. Okay. You go around and you begin, loosing
I
sails.
said that I was going to make the anchor, that I was going to, based on how the wind is blowing, prep the mast but not yet unfurl sails, and then secure lines for that. By that point, I imagine that the rest of them are going to get there, hopefully, because you can't run a trimast ship by yourself.
Yeah. I believe you all landed a small boat on the shore, yes? I'm assuming you're taking that instead of swimming?
I
Okay.
That sounds like a much better
Yes,
idea.
you get aboard your small boat and deftly.
I take a puff of my pipe of underwater breathing before getting on the small boat.
Just in case. I like it. Just in case. Always better to be protected. Um,
I'm assuming that like I go to get in the water and my beard like pulls me towards the boat, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that.
yes, that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what
Hey, boy.
happens. It's like, woo! My beard does that to me all the time.
Go to the boat.
So then you get on the boat. Isilme deftly handles it, maneuvering it out to sea towards the vessel. You easily close the distance with the vessel that Phleos is preparing. And as you do, you see this bright glowing coming from the tower where you had left. And it begins smoldering, and flames begin leaping out the windows. And then a horde of dozens and dozens and dozens of these fireballs begin swirling around the tower, and a few of them break off and begin coming towards you.
About how far away is from us?
I'm sorry, is what from you? You broke up for a sec.
How far away is the window from us now? Give or take.
600-700 yards.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm going to start rolling faster.
Undead from these bat fire things, do I?
No undead. You do get to the vessel definitely before they even have broken from the shore.
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
I begin assigning tasks to everybody based on what I know they can do, and I fill the captain in on what we have done so far.
All right, excellent.
I actually help out for once.
Let's everybody give me a roll for that. Why not? For handling the craft. Everybody gives me a roll. Not that this is going to decide your fate.
I was probably just going to look at Phleos and say, you don't give me orders.
I mean, it wasn't so much an order as it was, I mean, although, like, I'm supposed to be second in command on the boat, but only the boat.
I
As
didn't
it
say I
was,
was going to follow orders from a captain either.
do we want
Bragus, if you don't follow orders, then you can get off the boat. Go back to the fire bats. That's fine. And I just kind of take off running towards whatever else needs
I
to
want
get
to
done.
know what I'm being asked to do. I'm not just going to do just random shit.
Nat 20.
Well, Phleos knows more about sailing than I do, so...
Captain, I really don't know what I'm doing still. We haven't really got any lessons in. Like, I can cheer you guys on while you do this,
No,
or I can just do
I have
Overwatch.
given you a simple task, like, hold this.
Worst crew ever.
I just have rope. I just have length of
Or
cord
fire.
in my hand.
I'm
I
a
can
doctor,
lift things
not that
and pull
boat swim.
things. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anyway.
Eladin,
I rolled an 11.
Eladin natural 20 to help with the boat.
Yeah.
Eladin, like
Yeah, they're-
you begin
what-
filling the sails just from your vital energy, and there's a gust of wind and it begins pushing it, and you definitely tie a series of knots. You're not even certain where they go, but they go in the right place.
You guys
I rolled
are doing
a
it.
5.
Lucius,
Are
you
we-
just
are we adding
kind of
a
sit
modifier or
there.
not?
No, unless you have handle vessel.
Water vehicle.
Yeah, in which case you get add proficiency. Or we'll say double proficiency. Lucius, you kind of like, you're like, shit, wasn't there a song that I wanted to sing when I got on a boat? Something about being on a boat, something about a sailor, something about a daughter of the
No
captain.
singing, just hold the rope.
It's like, I'm not
It
that
was probably
type
a
of bard.
T-pain.
Dimitri, what'd you get?
I rolled a 14.
Yeah, you do a good job. You do what they told you to do relatively proficiently.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor.
Ragus,
11.
11. You lift things and haul things. You're not even certain if you're supposed to be lifting and hauling them, but they do no harm. And then my two wonderful sailors.
23.
23. Yeah, you're navigating this boat like a motherfucker. And Fleos?
Double proficiency.
Double proficiency.
24.
24. All right. So
Nat 20.
excellent. Wow, double excellent. So yeah, you begin steering the craft, grab the perfect angle to allow the wind to fully fill the sails, and begin making extremely good headway. The creatures almost seem to be outpaced, and one by one they peel off until none are following you. You deftly steer the vessel between the opening of the two towers, beyond the chain, holding your breath momentarily, hoping that it had sunk deep enough that it wouldn't catch on your vessel. And you hear...
I have a certain spell ready just in case.
You hear the slightest of scratching sounds against the hull, and then you're clear into the dark night ocean.
I let out a really long breath.
Behind you, you can see the towers have become raging infernos, and the stones are crashing to the ground, and the entire island chain are up in flames in the night, like beacons beyond you that you're leaving behind.
Well, I go over to Ragus and I say, I know you don't technically follow me, and I know that in more normal situations, you'd probably try to stab me, and that's okay. But thanks for, not letting us all get eaten by fire bats, apparently. That's great.
Yeah.
And then I go around and I give more normal thanks and congratulations to everybody else, including Lucius, who did manage to hold onto the rope.
I'm actually.
I am going to give him a quick
Wait.
smile when he's saying that.
Ragus and then Lucius, okay?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I would stab you. I'm over a hacking type.
All right.
Fair enough. Yes. Hacking, axes, yes.
Lucius.
I'm actually taking the rope I was handed and frantically looking for something to do. I go take a barrel, run it over to the front part of the ship, because I don't know what that's called, and start tying the barrel to it, because it's still nighttime, right?
Yes.
And then I go, Dimitri, do that thing where you light this up.
What?
You know, we make things glow.
I cast light on it.
So now we have a big headlamp on the front of this boat.
I love
On
it.
an entire barrel?
I love it.
It's got
On the
smaller than 10
entire
feet.
barrel.
I love it.
So well.
I look back to the captain from, like, the mid-deck, and I'm just sort of like, I just mouth, do we want this?
Just kind of shrug. Does it matter anymore? And then I'm going to say to the whole group, not just mouth it, everyone stay here for a second. I'm going to go below deck, and I want to find either a hammock or like a piece of canvas or something and a cannonball and bring it back.
All of these are handily available.
Okay. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to lay the hammock down. And I have Solbaya's, this is going to sound really creepy, I have Solbaya's skull and his 2 scimitars.
Oh, right, yes.
So I'm going to lay those in the hammock with the cannonball and then fold the hammock on top of itself so everything's inside. And I'm going to call Dimitri over and sit down next to the hammock. Dimitri, will you, I don't know, say a few words? I don't know how this goes. And then I just start sewing the hammock onto itself.
Yeah, while she's doing that, I would be saying, Cinderell's last rites, that whole shebang, and, throwing some good words of, personal ability of knowing Solbaya and how he was, like, a good kid. He was always there for us. He was definitely the bravest of all of us. Not necessarily the smartest, but always the first one willing to do what needed to be done.
As you do this,
I chuckle and I take a sip of rum.
And thanks to him, we are still out. We are still, able to continue in our pursuits.
Dimitri, as you do this, you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. And there's a moment as a very cold cold sensation floods over the ship, and you look out to the sea, and there is a moment of clarity as the moon comes out from behind a cloud, and it just draws a long line of sallow yellow across the stillness of the ocean. And there's the breeze moving the canvas, and you can hear the canvas in the background. And you almost get this presence in your mind, and your eye in your skull swivels, your Sindrel's eye. And momentarily, in a flash, you see Solbaya before you, smiling, almost as if he were a hazy mist walking on the water. And you can feel his presence and sense him. And then all of a sudden, just as quickly as he was there, he's gone. And it leaves you.
Out of my good eye, a tear goes down. As I nod, my final goodbye to him.
When Dimitri's finished talking, I'm gonna nod to whoever's the closest to me to help me pick up. I'll pick up 2 corners of the hammock.
I'll pick up the other.
Okay. As this is going on, I just peer over to Eladin. We sure those swords weren't special in any way, right?
Dude, come on, man.
Out of character, they were destroyed by a pudding a long time ago or something, so they're damaged and useless. Just saying. In character.
I elbow Lucius in the ribs, and I'm like, dude, not now. Not cool. I'll get thrown overboard too. Don't try it.
Also, I don't know. I explained this totally bad. The idea was that I put the skull and then the scimitars and then the cannonball. So, okay, anyway, overkill. So I'm gonna walk over to the side of the ship with whoever's helping me hold this hammock.
Dimitri.
Okay, so Dimitri and I walk over, and then I'm
Get
just
the old
gonna-
heave ho.
and I'll say, may you forever have wind in your sails, and then.
Is this one of those last rites that we light on fire when it goes? Oh, okay.
No.
Put out a small
No.
flame that was
Pirates
in my hand.
didn't do that.
While they're in the middle of doing all that, I'm heading down below deck, drinking rum, showing that I don't care, and gonna go take a long rest.
I take out a small flask, and I take a swig, and I pass it around as like a nod to like a last rites type of thing.
I'm just gonna sit down on a barrel or crate, whatever's nearby, and pull out my own flask.
Well, no, don't do that. It's one auto refill.
No, I'll drink from Eladin's flask. I take it. I nod, college boy, and I pass it along to Dimitri.
I would also take a nice big heavy sip, for Cinderella, for Solbaya. Take a good hearty chug. Pass it on down.
I'll take a nip and go over to Dimitri. Just before I take a sip, do you really buy into this whole Sindrel business?
I just sort of stare at him blankly while my eye swivels in its sockets. Multicolored fucking, beams of light coming straight out of it.
I'll take a sip.
Fleos overhearing this,
Da!
having spent so much time with Dimitri and having sort of syncretized his Sindrel worship with his worship of Monahid, is also just sort of eyeing this really strangely, are you for real? That jive?
Yeah.
As I pass the flask off, I go, one of these days, if we live past this, you maybe take a couple hours out, tell me about it. Never been much of a religious guy, but if we make it out of here, maybe I'll change my mind.
I would consider it an honor. And that is the thing. Cinderella has been there for me, and bipartisan, but there for all of us. But if you want a personal relationship with him,
I just
know
walk
a guy
away
who
before he
could influence
finishes and go over to the captain and
okay.
Hey, Captain, you're looking a little banged up. Do you want me to take first watch while you get a couple Z's in?
How about you just keep me company. And I pull out, like, I grab some rope and I hand him some rope and just start showing him, now this is how you tie a knot, okay? And I start showing him some things.
I'll sit there trying my best to do knots, and then after a minute goes by, he goes, this world is not really cut out for us, is it? And kind of just brush my hair back and show the docked ear.
I don't really say anything, just nod.
After like a minute of silence, I'm like, it's supposed to look like this, and pull up like a haggard knot, like there's like a bowl sticking out of the end.
I'm kind of expecting you to accidentally make like a balloon animal out of it.
Just haphazardly make another like monkey's paw.
Close. Real close. I like I'll do it again.
Imagine a rope beholder coming out.
While all of this is going on, I'm going to. We have maps below deck, right?
Yes, and just remember, somebody has to steer the vessel.
Right. So I'm going to secure so that we're going in a straight line. I'm going to secure the I'm going to secure the wheel, and I'm going to grab the maps. I'm going to grab the maps, and then I'm going to see which map I might need. Like a large map of basically the world, since I don't know where we are at all. And then I'm going to bring that back up, along with a couple bags of sand. And I'm just going to, and like an astrolabe, and I'm just going to spread those out. I'm going to just look up at the night sky, which is fortunately clear, although it's bright because there's a large moon. And I'm going to try to figure out where we are.
Thank you. Excellent. Wonderful. Give me a roll. We'll say you're proficient. And wisdom.
Can this be a survival roll?
Yeah, why not? I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Quick question. How big was this boat?
It was if I remember, it was still a relatively largish vessel. It's actually technically a ship, not a boat. It's large enough to be called a ship.
It's a schooner.
Yeah, it was a schooner. Okay, yeah, I think it was. Did I say how many masts? I don't remember, but I think it was a schooner. I think you're correct.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna cast before I go take my long nap. I'm going to cast alarm right at the door that leads to the below deck, which will wake me up and make a audible alarm if anybody comes near it that's unwanted. So anybody that's not us, if anything comes in. And I'll let people know. Like,
cool.
It's fair.
You said it was a sloop of war.
There you go. It's a sloop. Good. A sloop of war. So it's a relatively small ship, but it's still a ship.
all right, and I'm definitely taking my long rest now.
Yeah, I'm calling it. You guys got first watch, and I don't wait for a response before I go downstairs.
At the boy.
So yeah, I'm out cold.
Fleus, what was your roll?
Sadly, only an 8.
Can I assist him? Because I'm proficient with navigator tools and things.
I will allow an advantaged roll, which is basically you re-rolling it.
Yes.
Go again.
That one was only a 13. Not good rolls on these
Well,
ones.
no, you look at the stars and you examine them, and you have an intimate relationship with the stars, and just looking at them, the things are out of place. You don't feel like you can get your bearings about you. It's as if this particular sky, night sky, is not the night sky you are used to, whatever that means. And it's not the type of thing where you're like, they're slightly out of place. You can't even find, the belt of Korath or the skull of Tardinth or any of your normal landmarks. Sky marks? Star marks? Whatever.
Constellations?
Sure, yeah, those things.
So as I'm realizing this, now I don't feel as bad about this problem. As I'm realizing this, and with the captain's assistance, as we're both staring up in the sky, I'm just gonna go, do you see anything normal? Like, I've sailed very far south, and I still don't see anything.
Sorry, DM question. When we first got on this ship, I had found captain's logs.
Yes.
Can you remind me, was it that they looked really old, or were the dates actually really old?
So it's similar to the other vessel that you were on that you had to abandon. It's old.
Right.
They're old dates in there, and everything itself also. It's not everything doesn't look old from the perspective of like it's worn. It looks old from the perspective of design.
Okay.
Right, but yeah, looking through the log books, it has old dates.
They were
several hundred years have passed since the dates.
Okay, so intelligence-wise, it's safe to assume that I can start to suspect this is not our time, or like these things are not of our time.
Not necessarily. I would say you're looking at it, and I mean, Eladin's below deck. Otherwise, I'd make him do an Arcana check. Fleos, you could do an Arcana check, right?
I could do an Arcana check, but since my background is formal sailing and formal training in sailing from the planet's current foremost sailors, would I have some idea of how little constellations change over the centuries?
You would call them constellations.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
see what you tried to do.
You did. I appreciate it. You lose inspiration, DM.
Damn it.
Dimitri, are you around?
Yeah, I imagine like if he asked somebody to like hold the wheel straight, I'm the guy holding the wheel straight.
Yeah.
So you can hear
I
this. Do you have Arcana? Are you proficient in Arcana?
I do
I
actually
don't
have Arcana.
think so.
Okay, well
Let me
then
double check.
Fleos, you go ahead and make the roll.
No, I do not.
Make an Arcana roll.
Oh, I am not
History.
proficient in Arcana, if that matters.
Kind of want somebody proficient. Well, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We don't need that tidbit right this second. So
No,
I'm
that's
just watching Dimitri.
Wake up.
before I allow the time to roll a little bit forward, anything anybody else is doing?
well, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with constellations, the constant installations, because if this ship looks sort of old, but there are no constellations that we're familiar with, then that means a completely different issue has come into play, although I couldn't suggest what it might be. And I will ask Dimitri if he knows anything about other realms or other worlds.
Dimitri, I'll let you make a religion check.
Am I can
do
do
is
that, right? I'm close
I'm
enough.
I'm literally standing next to you while I'm trying to figure out where any of the constellations
Anyone
are.
who's above
So,
deck
yeah,
can
you
hear it.
definitely hear that.
That would be a 21 for religion.
Oh, you definitely believe in other worlds.
No, yeah, da.
It's a thing.
Yeah. There are definitely other planes of existence.
You know, you can
There
travel
are
to
other
them.
worlds. Yeah. We can travel there. We can go there. There are spells and other ways to get us to and from them. We could potentially be on an alternate plane of reality as we speak. Which one it is, I don't know. Would I be able to, based on what we've seen so far, could I put two and two together based on what I've studied in the past?
Well, no, sadly not. But you do
Okay.
recall that this is a very... Eladin had mentioned that this is a very magical storm.
Gotcha.
So,
I
Captain,
don't know. It could be any number of possibilities.
I leave it to you.
Say that again? You broke up.
Oh, I say, I turn back from Dimitri to the captain and I say, given the sky and given that these myths from my childhood are backed up by our resident religious scholar, I
They're
leave
not.
it to you.
We just keep moving forward with wherever we are and try and find a way back home.
Okay. DM question. When I look at these maps, by the way, do they look at all familiar? Like, are continents in the right place?
Yeah, no, the maps look right. The cities on them have different names than you're used to, and it seems like some of the kingdoms don't make any sense to you. You know, they're old or names you haven't even necessarily heard before, but you recognize the shapes of things.
Okay. But the stars are completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have a star chart?
Yeah, there should be one on board.
Can I go downstairs and investigate look around for a star chart?
No, I'll say the room that contains the charts is fairly organized, so you find one.
Okay. I would like to start studying those star charts and try to figure out if I can use this combination to figure out where we are.
You know,
and I will bring that. I will bring that to the captain as well.
When Fleos leaves, it's just me and Dimitri for a second,
Yeah.
right?
I think Lucius is there.
Oh, and Lucius, yeah.
Lucius.
Still up there. I'm diligently trying to make that knot.
Okay. So I'm just gonna turn to Dimitri. You said there are spells and other ways to get between these planes?
I mean, in theory, yeah, that magic has sort of been not necessarily lost to time, but like very, very hard to attain.
But you wouldn't know any of those spells?
At the moment, no. Maybe? No. Definitely not now.
Okay.
Yeah, out of character, like that's definitely like plane shift and stuff like that is all like wizard magic.
Right.
Yeah, that's not cleric stuff.
Out of
And like
character,
very
I know
high
that.
level.
In character, Isilme knows nothing about magic, and it's just
Yeah.
twisted.
I mean, like I said, in theory, I've heard of those arcane boys at the Smarty Pants schools. They were sort of delving into that sort of thing, but I know, I mean, from my experience and teachings, like that is the stuff of the gods.
Have you ever heard of places moving between these worlds, or just people?
Yes.
I mean, yes, sure. Sure, it is not unheard of. It's very uncommon, but I mean, if an event is big enough, sure.
The gods allow it.
Yeah, if the gods allow it.
I'd like to think that you're talking and you literally hear a voice in your ear. You're like, "Yeah, I think that's."
That is
And
definitely
it
what that
works
is for the
because it's
record.
the DM god.
That is definitely what that is for the record. You do hear voices, so.
Yeah, that is proven fact. The voices are Cinderella.
Great.
Andrew is Cinderella.
Oh yeah, that's
Andrew, who is this Andrew you speak of?
That is my pet name for Cinderella.
An unusual name for a god.
It is an ancient name for Cinderella.
See,
Andrew is a much
Da.
more ancient name.
da.
All right. I'm gonna turn my attention back to Lucius. And see how
I'm
it's
standing right behind you, and I'm like, eh?
going. Is it any better?
He accidentally made what he thinks is a sheep's bend, but it's just like a sheep. Like it's shaped like a sheep.
Oh, I see what you did there. That's probably my bad. Should have clarified. Shit.
I'm trying to
Fleos,
start doing it over again.
Fleos, you examine the star chart, and you recognize this.
Yeah, well, I'm going to, if I find a star chart, like a book of star
Yes.
charts, I'm going to bring it up to the captain, and I'm going to point out, like, and I'm just going to, I guess, see if there are any markings on the map that might represent, like, stars or like navigational cues, anything like that, like you might find on an
Sure.
old mariner's map. You know, and sort of combination of just studying this for our own edification, and hopefully committing as much of it to memory as possible before we invariably lose this ship as well.
What you got to say is it like that?
Oh, that's out of character. That's out of character.
The DM giveth, the DM taketh away.
Yes.
We named this one.
So
We know the other ones too.
you do find a lot of constellations and records of celestial bodies, and examining them and looking up and examining them, they do not match the heavens above.
Cool. Extra confusing.
Well, I definitely point that out to the captain, and then I go back downstairs to see if I can find another star chart tucked away in some corner that I missed before.
All right, give me an investigation.
For right now, though, is it safe to assume that we can see where we're going in order to get to the next ring?
This is such a wonderful question.
Nope. Found nothing.
All right.
I got a 2 because you don't do floors, so.
Nope. All right. All that being said, Islamate, there's something weird. So, you know, you spent a lot of time on the ship, and you've spent the entire time above deck, not running below and then back up and below and back up. And one of the things you've noticed, it's like, it's almost imperceivable to everybody else. Fleos, if you'd been above deck for a while, you would have noticed this too, but you didn't. So just pretend like you don't. Islamate, as you're sitting there and you're correcting Lucius's knots and you're thumbing through these books, you do notice something. And what you notice is it's just like, it's the sensation. You've been on a vessel that has changed speed before, obviously, right? And you've done this very intentionally. And sometimes you've experienced it unintentionally. The ship is moving too fast. It's moving far faster than it should for the level of wind that is in the sails.
Do I get the sensation that it's moving so fast that it's being pulled?
Pulled, or there is an unusually strong current. A current that you would never associate with the ocean, that you would more associate with something like a very fast-moving river. An extremely fast-moving river. Imperceivably in the distance, over the sound of the rigging, the sound of the wind, the sound of the water, you hear almost like a sound, like a hushing sound in the distance. And just give me a quick wisdom check.
About how much time has passed since?
You've gotten a short rest, sir.
Well, I am an elf, so 4 hours is enough.
You've gotten a short rest.
All right.
Hold on 1 second, because I think I rolled shit, but I think I have an ability for this. When you make a wisdom check related to operating a vessel of your chosen type, your proficiency doubles. No, that's not gonna help. 9 plus 4, 13.
I mean, that'll help later on.
Okay.
The only thing you can relate this sound to is, there was that time you were on a riverboat and you were traveling in unknown territory for piratey reasons, possibly, and the boat ended up sailing towards a waterfall. And do you remember a very similar sound in that circumstance?
I'm going to relay all this to Fleos very quickly. Do you notice we're moving too fast?
I'm going to say, I'm going to run to the front of the boat, and I am going to point out to the captain that maybe somebody better than Dimitri should steer the boat.
All right, so I'm going to run over there. You go get Eladin, because maybe the two of you can do something with this water. Can you better follow a ship? Out of character.
Fleos, just in that moment after Islamay has pointed it out, you recognize that the boat the ship is moving too fast. And
Yes.
Isolme, now that you're paying attention to it, you feel like it's accelerating.
Yeah.
Can I
So I'm running.
slow on the boat?
But I've run back to take over steering from Dimitri, and I told Leos to go grab you.
Do it.
Alright, the short rest gave me stuff.
Well, I'm going to apologize to the captain, and I'm going to ask Dimitri to go get Eladin, and I'm going to run to the front of the boat and see what's going on and whether this is an amount of water that I can control or not.
We still have that big giant barrel spotlight up there. If you wanted to maneuver that and use it to your
Which should
advantage.
be hanging off the bowsprit, yes?
Sure.
Or that word. Yeah, we'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Wherever he's
Obviously.
through. Da.
That's the naked woman on the front.
Projection on the front of the boat, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you run to the bow, the front of the boat,
Yes.
front of the ship,
Yes.
and you can see 60 feet or 120 feet, or what is your dealio?
I mean, how bright is the moon?
It's actually pretty bright. That's a fair point. Okay. Off in the distance, really squinting, really taking your time, allowing your eyes to adjust, and picking out the shapes you can see in the light. You see what appears to be... It's very bizarre. It's like there are mountains high in the sky, in the distance, but then there's nothing below. Like it's like you can see mountains here, but then there's nothing here, and even more nothing. True blackness beneath it. And you definitely see that the water is going to get extremely choppy in the next couple of kilometers.
Okay. Rapid succession of DM questions. When you say nothing, you mean like the ocean appears, or like are these mountains that appear to me to be floating in the air?
That one.
Okay. And then in between them, there's just nothing, and then there's ocean again, like horizon.
And then
but
nothing.
The water is very choppy.
Well, so it's
then,
similar to what you just said. You see these things, and it's like floating terra firma.
Yes.
And then you see like ocean horizon, and
Yes.
then blackness, as if there's just a hole in the ocean. And
Right.
then
A hole in the ocean, or like an end of the ocean, like everything just stops and things are pouring off the side.
no, it's definitely a hole, because it's almost like the depth. It's hard to judge the depth of it, but there's some depth, some distance where there's just blackness where ocean should be. And
Okay.
and you see,
But then there's ocean past that.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I'm assuming that Dimitri got me and I'm up on the ship.
Yeah, Dimitri would go down. I'd tap you on the side, be like, "Hey, we need your advice," and I rummage through my med pack and I hand him basically what is like the equivalent of a 5-hour energy. It's good for
Just
you.
straight bull semen.
I chug it. That
I
is
keep sleeping in the meantime.
terrible. But I run upstairs and DM question: is there anything in the water like rocks or?
Not immediately around you that you can see or anything like that. It still feels like ocean at this point. Just very fast moving ocean. Like it has a major current. You can see the current in the water.
If at any point you see any objects that can be like tethered to, let me know.
Sure.
If we can see the current, can I tell how wide the current is?
Yeah, it's the entire ocean around you.
So like as far as I can see the entire ocean.
Yeah.
So we literally have to turn. Is there any way based on the wind that we currently have to turn against this?
You could try, but just doing quick trigonometry in your head, because we all do, it seems like you're probably gonna run into the edge of the ocean. the current is extremely strong. You can see the there are a couple ropes and whatnot, knots, for example, hanging off the ship for judging speed, and they're just like pull, like it's just immense pull.
Yeah. So this would be
you don't even need sails right now.
My ability to control water.
Luminous.
Right. I will race back to the captain. I will apprise her of the fact that even that I don't think that I can pull us out of this. I could try to make a trench that we would sit in, but that wouldn't last forever, and it would not actually propel us anywhere. I don't think that with my current level of ability, I can propel the boat away from this.
Great.
I want to fire off a firebolt way ahead of the boat in an effort to illuminate past the boat.
Okay, do that.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Kind of like a flare.
A flare.
Yeah. So I do that.
Eldon walks up to the bow. His beard is at this point just twisted in gnarly knots of tendrils that are kind of squirming all over his face, and he begins moving in the air. His hands and runes begin flowing from his fingertips, and the beard kind of stiffens as he does this, focusing to the task. And there's a moment as his eyes light up and a fire just births to life in front of him and propels off across the ocean. And you see, barely a kilometer out, water just whoosh, going over some end in the ocean, vanishing below. And the fireball actually illuminates the this is DM rules. This fireball goes really far for whatever reason. And it illuminates the underside of what you could only describe as a floating island. It's has rocky tendrils coming beneath it and vines hanging off, and you can see trees on the top of it, and it's above you, or above the water line by several hundred feet. But it's above this gaping maw in the ocean. And the crazy part of this, or the crazier part, is that it seems like the water on your side flows into it, and then on the other side comes out.
Okay.
I don't have any idea what's going on at all.
Guys, I think we found the air island.
That would make sense.
Okay, well, do you have any way of getting us up there with the ship? Can you...
I can certainly pray.
Bear with me for a moment.
Can you polymorph a boat?
Oh, well, I was about to ask a DM question. How much strength would I need if I could fly to carry my compatriots in the air?
I mean, there's not many of us. We could definitely do that with a couple of eagles. Just the boat.
Well, yeah, you'd have to abandon the boat in that case. That's fair.
But if you and Cleos were flying, but
right.
You can't carry a ship.
No, screw the ship. Sorry.
You take that back.
I'm so sorry, but I'd rather keep us alive than the ship. Alternatively, we could try and take our chances that the boat survives and we just end up on the island correctly, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Is there any way to just dodge around this hole? Because I do see that water is flowing out.
It seems to generate from, as far as you can see, it seems to cut a line across the ocean.
Yeah, but then on the other side, it does flow back out.
Yes. Yes.
So if I could skip that line, we would be pushed away from the
Just
hole.
jump the gap, you mean?
Yeah.
Hit the ship.
Yeah.
high
The
above
gap is
water
like
And it.
the gap is
I
pretty
want to
extensive.
like skirt around. I want to skirt around it and just slingshot
Kessel Run.
around the hole and go back in time.
Kessel
I
Run.
mean,
Okay.
I was more thinking Star Trek 4,
Fair.
but sure.
How many
yes.
parsecs you think it'll take?
It won't take any parsecs. It will take an infinitesimal amount of parsec because we're on a planet.
How high up is that island from like the water level?
Several hundred feet. 400 or 500 feet.
Unfortunately, guys, my magic is limited to a range of about 100 feet. So unless that island comes down or we get higher, I can't do much but slow our fall.
Is there any way that we could anchor to the island?
I mean,
Like maybe have like some sort of levitation thing to lift the anchor out of the water, like grapple hook onto the island?
How many hundreds of feet of rope do we have on the boat?
Hey man, I'm just spitballing here.
No. This is a DM question. How many hundreds of feet of rope do we have on the boat?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely many hundreds of feet, you know.
And does that seem like something like is the island far enough back from the hole where if somebody did secure something to it, that would stop us from falling into the hole?
Okay, so the islands are directly over the hole. So if you could secure something to it, you'd probably
is the whole island size?
yes,
Like how
yes,
wide is the
yes, island size.
Okay.
It's as if the islands lifted out of the ocean and left a gaping
Yes,
maw
gotcha.
in their path.
hole? Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha.
Like a
All right.
puzzle piece.
so back to my other question. If I was a flying creature of, let's say, a huge size, how many people could I carry?
Well, I know that a giant eagle can carry 3 people, 3 medium-sized creatures.
Well, I was looking at a Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatl.
A dinosaur,
Yeah,
I
they
see.
How do you wait? Can you say that again? Because I have no idea what you said.
Quetzal,
Quetzal, Quetzalcoatl.
yes.
Cool.
I would
Quetzalcoatl.
like to mention that my 3-year-old can say
Yes.
that.
I mean, I can say it. I've just never heard
'Cause
it
he has a
before.
toy
I
line.
also have to look up a picture.
It's like a pterodactyl.
Yep,
Those are pretty dope looking things.
but with a pelican. Flamingo.
It's actually not a
No, it is
pterodactyl,
not a
but-
pterodactyl. I said it is like a pterodactyl.
It looks like
Sure.
Better question: can I turn into a pterodactyl?
Okay, time is running out.
I still need you to answer that question for me.
3.
All right, Fleos, can you also turn into a flying creature?
Of course, yes.
Say that like
I
it's
think a
not,
Quetzalcoatl can carry more than 3 people, though.
the DM said 3, so that's.
The DM said 3, fine.
Uh,
I just don't want to waste the polymorph when I can use a wild shape.
So
I forgot you.
So, Captain, my captain, you give me a roll for like your seamanship. Come on, don't just sit here passively on me.
Sure. Do you want like my water vehicle
Yeah.
proficiency
Mhm.
thing? Does that
Yeah.
work? Does they have a
I'm assuming we've woken
Anchor
up
that.
Ragus.
I don't think anyone has woken up right yet.
No, Ragus
He's
is still,
still
the fucking
sleeping.
cannonball.
Still asleep and resting.
Dimitri, you go get Ragus real quick.
Do I have to?
18.
You want to wake up Ragus?
All right,
Hard pass on that.
Isilme, you don't want to give up on this ship, do you? No.
No, I'm trying to think of ways to do what Dimitri said and make the anchor like a grappling hook.
So
I mean, yeah.
you have an anchor. You've anchored
Yes.
against a river current before. Normally, you would anchor against land. But hey,
Yeah.
like it's a ship. It has more than one anchor usually, right? Shouldn't there be ballast and shouldn't there be backup anchors and shouldn't there be all of these other things, including large quantities of rope, as Fleos indicated? It seems like there might be solutions that could if you're proficient enough,
You mean, like,
save the ship.
Maybe what I put on the chat,
I didn't look.
Put in the chat.
like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Well,
that was
Oh,
that
the
was
chat
the
in
other
here, I
thing
don't check this
was
chat.
before, but
But I'm asleep, so I'm not allowed to say it.
I mean, that's why
That's fair.
that's the other reason I asked the DM how many feet of rope we have, because we are in the open ocean at this point, and I don't know. Like, we seem to be far away from any coastline, but there is an island nearby, so maybe we're not so abyssobenthic as I thought we were.
Okay, so let's try and drop as many anchors as we can, see what happens, and then reevaluate.
Yeah, I mean, we can use the bird thing as a last-ditch effort.
Okay, then I'm going to start procuring rope and anchors, and I'm going to ask Dimitri and Lucius to help me, while I ask Eladin to be the eyes, and I'm going to start telling you to climb up into the crow's nest, and then I'm going to remember the last time I saw you climb something, and I'm going to say, just go to the bow and just yell things to the captain as you see them.
And maybe someone wake up Ragus. He's
And
strong.
yeah, as we're running downstairs past Ragus's room, just gonna like bang on the wall and just be like, Ragus!
What the fuck is going on?
And then by the next time you
almost
hear
done
me,
with
I'm
the knot.
carrying a bunch of rope and I'm like, I need you to go get an anchor.
All right, I was like,
You know what I never did? Holy shit. Did I never hit start streaming?
Nope. I tried to message you that earlier, and
So I hit record. I hit record, but never start streaming. That's okay.
yeah, it weren't broadcasting.
It's fine with me.
Important part, right?
It's fine by me.
I'd like to think that as I was almost getting the knot, what's it called? Fleos just grabs the rope out of my hand, and I was just like,
I love it.
all right.
No.
Yes, excellent.
So I
There'll be
guess
more knots if we wake up tomorrow.
I'm gonna start looking for anchors because they need people with strength to carry it.
Ragus, there are
and-
large boulders down in the belly of the ship that are used for ballast, and you could just start grabbing these, like large boulders.
Yeah.
Many rocks.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna start taking them upstairs.
All right.
I mean,
You just
up on the
heave,
surface.
and you can feel the horns smoldering on your head, and your skin turns beet red, and you just begin hefting these large boulders the size of you and carrying them upstairs. The wood of the ship creaking with every one of your movements, and the rest of you just seem to just kind of like set down these large shaped stones that are used for ballast.
Okay.
Well, that is impressive.
Once we've got enough rope up here, I'm going to start securing these boulders and this other ballast and anything else that we can, and I'm going to find good places to secure that too. So not the mast, for instance. You know.
By the way, since I was sleeping and I don't know what just happened, as I go up and I guess I see that island floating around and the hole and everything, I immediately look at Eladin and say, "What the fuck did you do this time?"
It's not my fault. I don't.
He
probably-
found it. Honest.
Probably not my fault.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep bringing things up, and then I guess as I get tied, if he knows where to tie them, I can toss them into the water once I'm told to.
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As long as they say please.
I'll hand Fleos the 2 ropes I have.
Yes. So like I've got now like just coils of rope, and I like by sight measure them out because I would imagine that coils of rope are stored in certain lengths, and I figure out how they need to be tied, if they need to be tied. Basically, I'm going for how much rope do we have?
I mean, we're talking, you know,
Thousands of feet?
yeah,
Hundreds of feet?
definitely thousands of feet. I was gonna say kilometers of rope because it's conventional to have much rope.
Yes. Okay, good. So I am literally making lengths of rope that are thousands of feet long, that are like 1,500 feet long, 2,000 feet long, in order to hopefully hit the bottom. Even though we are.
I mean, I bring a
a
180-foot rope when I go rock climbing. Sometimes two. So
yeah,
yeah, you have thousands of feet of rope easily. Okay.
yeah. No, I'm just making sure.
So we're gonna boil this down to one roll, and it's going to be an advantaged handle water vessel, whatever it's called, roll with double proficiency by the captain.
Okay, I'm gonna roll real
No
dice.
pressure.
I feel like roll 20 has been screwing
Don't
me.
And just I want you to understand the importance of
Nice.
this. This decides whether you get to keep this vessel or not. So
Okay.
it's all on Islame's shoulders.
Yeah, I think we understood that.
Campaign.
You can
So
do it,
if the
Captain.
bard wants to, I don't know, do bardy things for once instead of just cracking whips,
I don't got bard shit to do.
cool.
What? You can roll inspiration.
Well, if he's
Oh yeah,
at-
no, I can't. I haven't taken a long rest. I have no inspirations.
Okay. It's
Can I
yeah,
add
at
some?
least plus
Can I add some sort of modifier if I were to cast control water?
No.
Okay.
It's gonna be
I
great.
cast bless.
Hold on.
I cast bless.
I'm
Add a
rolling.
D4.
Did you hear that? You get an extra D4. You get an extra D4.
Okay, hold on, let me grab a
Do you
D4.
need the D4?
Yeah, because I somehow rolled the same fucking roll with both dice.
Is it at least a good die?
Ugh. It's an 8.
Based on that
Wait,
voice,
wait,
you
wait,
sound like
shh,
it.
shh, wait. What'd you say, Em?
Does an 18 do anything?
All right. Just so you know, I'm not like faking or doing this for funsies. I mean, I'm trying to hide the other section. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. No, you won't be able to see it. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
I promise. I want to just prove this. Okay, yeah, my phone is nearby. I'm gonna take a picture and I'll post to the Facebook group. And you see, I'm not typing on my laptop or anything like that. I just have my phone. This is really important because I want proof.
It's definitely DC 17.
Or 19 with the highlight.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
All right.
like DC 19.
Ugh.
I'll post it right now to the Facebook group.
By the way, Andrew, the overlay on Twitch is for random characters.
Oh yeah. I haven't changed it. It's okay. I'm leaving it because I don't want to touch it right now.
Okay.
Andrew, you're keeping on some crazy
I'm just
suspense.
posting it to Facebook,
Oh,
just
well,
generally
okay.
because I didn't want to go find the group on Facebook. All right, you succeed.
Really?
So what happens
Thank
is Isilme
Whoa.
begins turning the wheel, and these ropes begin straining against the pull of the ocean, the tantalizing allure of this fall into the maw, into the gap that seems to go endlessly in some type of circle, and in a radius around whatever's next. And she deftly just spins the wheel and pulls on ropes that control the masts and just maneuvers the vessel perfectly with the aid of all of you, especially Fleos, who's running around and trimming sails and letting other sails out and doing all sorts of complex behaviors that involve us knowing how vessels work, which we don't. And and the ship begins to kind of like tilt to one side, threatening to capsize, and then she elegantly spins the wheel a little bit more, and it spins all the way around with the anchors pulling and trailing in the ocean, dragging behind, and you just see this, like, the water spurting away from where the ropes go into the ocean, and the vessel slows and stops teetering on the edge of the maw.
Is it possible to reel that in just a little bit in case whatever we do on this island causes the island to stop floating? I'm asking this as a DM question.
I mean, on
based
a
on
vessel, you do.
character.
You could crank in some of the anchors, some of the anchor tension to pull yourself closer to the anchors. Yeah,
I'll do
and
that.
by you I mean Ragus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to I'm going to ask Ragus nicely to do this, and I'm going to try to direct him, like, so that he keeps us, so that we stay even, and I do not upset the tenuous balance that the captain has craftily crafted.
Yes.
Okay.
Ragus, give me
Yeah,
give me a
the
strength.
ropes as-
Give me a strength check.
Yeah. Strength. Can I do acrobatic? No,
No.
not acrobatic.
Athletics?
sorry.
I'll allow.
athletics?
Yes, today I will allow athletics for this.
Okay, good. So thanks to it being that one, I get a 25.
25. You begin turning it and heaving it, and there's a moment as it won't budge because the ocean is so lusty with desire to pull you into the maw. And then everybody sees Ragus just kind of begin to smolder, like steam is actually lifting away from his clothing, especially because some of the salt spray got on it. And you can see his veins outlined in bright red beneath his translucent skin. And then he pulls harder, and the ship moves just a few feet away from the maw where it had been teetering on. And at that point, you hear a voice. And it says... "Hey, up there. Where do you think you're doing? This is my spot."
Okay, I've been like crazy, like white knuckle gripping the wheel, so I'm gonna like extract my hands slowly, making sure nothing moves, and then I guess make my way to the side of the ship to see where this voice is coming from.
So yeah, you kind of like you're white knuckled, and you look over at the side of the ship, and the water's reasonably loud, but not crazy loud for going into this maw. And you see a small dinghy with its oars in the ship, and you see some fish at the bow of the tiny vessel. And there's an old man with kind of like threadbare pants, bare-chested, and there's some tattoos on his chest, but he's very wiry and skinny, and he has a long gray beard, and one of his eyes has a major scar through it, and it's just all cut up and gnarled, and he's wearing this wide-brimmed hat, and he says, "You're going to scare away the fishes, don't you know that you're going to scare them if you bring such big vessels over to this gape?" And he has a fishing pole in the water. And there's a...
We weren't aware this was a fishing spot. We will leave as soon as we're able to.
Does he have an anchor?
There's no anchor on his ship, and it's just sitting there. And there's a large lantern at the front, just kind of swaying back and forth, casting blue light on the water. He says, I don't mind if you stay too much, as long as you, maybe, I don't know, help me find some fish, possibly."
Sure, one moment. And then I'm just gonna kind of turn back to the group like a...
You hear him as he turns, he's like, "Always people coming over, scaring my fish away. I don't understand these things."
Anyone else want to talk to this guy?
Oh yeah, I definitely
Or
do.
Fleos, can you get him some fish? Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah, Leos, turn into a fish.
Do they need to be? Do they need to be
Woodland
live? Do they need to be live fish?
Are you asking him that?
I can conjure fish. I actually can conjure fish. The spell is not very specific about what fish I can conjure that aren't going to eat this man's flesh, but
I'm sure you can choose.
I look over. Hello, sir. I am Eladin.
Oh,
What is your name?
hail and well met. I am Olden Man of the Teen.
It is so nice to meet you. And I give a little bow and like kind of hit my head on the side of the boat.
Your beard kind of like whacks you across the head at the same time too, like when you get up like that.
Yeah.
And he kind of piercingly looks at you with his one blue eye.
How do you find yourself in such turbulent waters, sir?
I've been here for a long time now. This is, well, it used to be the best place to fish, and then for some reason it went away for a very long time. A blink of the eye for me, but... And he blinks his one eye. But maybe longer for you, it would seem.
Is that blinking or winking?
I guess it's both. And he kind of looks up at you.
My attention.
Yes, and he says, but it's come back so recently. So recently. This used to be my favorite spot to fish so long ago, it seems.
Was it always a bottomless pit of despair?
This place has changed much, but things change, don't they now?
I suppose so. I kind of look at myself and I'm like, yes, I suppose they do. Would there be a place where we could talk in drier territory?
He kind of frowns deeply, says, we might be able to talk a little bit more, but he kind of pulls his pole out of the water, and you see it's just dangling with like a multi-barbed a hook, and there's like a big fat, just gross worm on the end. Like, it looks like a snake, but it's clearly a worm. And he says, but I need the fish to be biting first, you know, it's...
How many fish do you need?
I need just one beautiful, perfect fish.
And what are these fish like? Tell me about these fish.
They are very old fish, almost as old as I am. They've been here for time unwritten.
Up Eladin to hear this.
Well, what are they like? What really gets them hungry, makes them fight?
Well, he kind of pets the worm, and you see the worm go rigid under his touch. He says, usually these darlings just do it. Come now. You know, you may die this day or any other. Why don't you find yourself being useful and come down here and help this old man catch a fish? Maybe you can work my pole for me. Maybe you'll be luckier than I am.
And just to clarify, working your pole for you is not a euphemism.
I slap Eladin just a little bit.
I say that as I'm climbing down into his boat.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna, like, put my hand on his shoulder before he, like, tries walking down.
Yeah.
Does this guy seem genuine? Because that, I mean, to me, went from 0 to 100 real fast of come climb into my boat.
Yeah. This also sounds to me like all sorts of horrible tales that sailors tell to each other.
Well, if you would like to do insight checks, the Isilme, since you're paranoid, and Phlios, since you're also paranoid, you two may give me insight checks.
Would you maybe
paranoid if it's true?
Would you maybe like to come onto our boat?
That was my first good roll of the night.
Isilme, he genuinely wants somebody to help him fish. You get that. But you feel like he's holding something back.
I have a hunch that the fish is how the fish might fly or something, and that's how you get onto the island.
I'm trying to figure out how to ask this. Before we come help you fish, is there anything you can tell us about this place?
This place, the place that you find yourselves suspended in for time.
Yeah, that's a good start.
I know of it, I guess. You know, it's all bad illness. That horrible, foul creature, he made it this way, that bastard of a lawyer, that cousin of mine.
Cousin?
Does he have a name?
Well, he has many names. As we all do, of course.
What would you call him?
You might call him Thana Duldenkar.
Thana Duldenkar.
What would I call him? It depends on if I saw him in a good mood or not.
I know that feeling. I have siblings too.
I turn to Dimitri with an inquisitive eyebrow about Thanadul Kenkar.
That's the mage, right? That caused all this stuff. We learned about that from
I
the
was
king.
going to say, does that name sound familiar to us?
Yeah,
It's in my notes.
Yes, it does. It should.
Thana Duldenkar, you heard it before as the mage who caused this whole curse.
I got you.
And
So-
the king, Aul betrayed him.
So, were you trapped here
Me?
in this timeless void?
Me trapped by such a little creature as my cousin? No. No. No, my brothers and sisters and I could never be trapped by such a little fickle being.
So why are you here?
For the fish. Now come, help me.
DM question here. My jester's hat that I picked up a while back, does it have like bells or anything on like the tops of it?
Yes.
I'll lean over. I'm like, maybe this. Maybe we can harvest this for pieces to maybe work for better lore.
Oh, yes, of course, that's the jingle jangle, right? Of course, yes. Why don't you come down too? Yes, there's plenty of room.
How far away is he from me?
He's right next to the ship.
Mage hand. I'll just hand it right over to him.
It is always fun to see that my sister's tricks still work for your kind.
So,
Who's your sister?
your brothers and sisters,
Yes.
are they here too?
Do you see them? Do you see anyone else here? I like it here because it's quiet and peaceful, and not often am I almost run over by ships.
I meant in this planescape island death storm.
They walk where they want. They are more structured than I am.
That's okay. I just like structure as well. And I start to climb down into the boat.
Dimitri, are you anywhere to be seen?
I imagine I'm like looking over the guardrail over this, and all of like this stuff is really racking my brain for like other religions and like
Dimitri, are you on
potential.
Joe, are you on
gods that it
Facebook
could
right
be.
now?
I am not, but I can go
Go on Facebook so I can message you.
Okey
I'm gonna climb down when Aladdin does.
All right, excellent.
I'm not. I don't trust
Yeah,
him.
it's a very small vessel, but it's also very stable, surprisingly. Like, it's not rocking or moving at all in the current.
So how do you get your boat to stay so nice?
I just
And-
ask it. Don't you just ask yours?
No, we have to use physics.
Boy.
She does physics and I watch.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's like you're having a really weird phone conversation.
So yeah, you get down there and he says, "Okay, you must help me with my rod. And who is the strongest amongst you?"
Oh, I was the wrong one to come.
Amongst all of us or amongst me and Eladin?
Amongst whomever feels like joining me on my humble vessel.
Ragus!
He pulls
I?
he pulls a large gourd from somewhere amongst, the mess of his ship, of his boat, and pours a giant frothing amount into a mug and hands it over, and he says, "There's no adventure that can't be made better with mead, friends. After all, it is the drink of the gods."
I offer him my drinking horn as a short trade because I don't want to seem greedy or empty-handed.
Another gift of my sister's, I see.
I take it your sister's one of magic then. Huh?
You could say such things. She's very much of magic, yes.
I drink the mead. I'm not even going to be shy about it.
It's like the richest honey flavor you've ever had, and it has that the nicety of fermentation without any harshness to it. And it's sweet, but it's not cloyingly sweet. It's not like overwhelming your palate. It's almost like you can taste the happiness of the bees that collected the pollen. And you taste other things, like there's a note of hibiscus and hops.
Can I
So-
make like a religion check to see if I recognize anything that you just told me?
Yeah.
Do I smell that from the boat?
Oh yeah. It has an overpoweringly pungent, delicious scent.
Okay, so I follow that. It's like, ooh, can I
Damn
get
it!
some?
I'm sure an 8 triggers nothing in my recesses
Nope.
of my mind.
Oh, Master Dwarf, you seem to have a burden upon your shoulders. I see what you are doing. And he looks at all of you and he says, you are here for that vile creature. My lost cousin, if you will.
Sure. If we can get some more of that meat.
Come, have a drink. You clearly must be the strongest amongst them. And you, he points to Eladin, and he just kind of like touches your beard momentarily. You are the intelligent one, aren't you?
I wink.
I
and
chuckle loudly.
I stare at everybody laughing when he says that, and I say, "Yes, I went to college."
I'm not laughing.
He
No.
begins talking in Elvish, and he just kind of, Fleos, you're up top, or are you below too?
I'm still on the boat, but I'm very much
You're on the ship.
our ship.
Yes.
But I'm paying attention to what is going on below. Yes.
He Islamite captain. He turns to you and he says, "And you are the fastest and the wisest. I have a feeling." And he pulls a net out from somewhere and hands you a net. Islamite. He says, "This will serve you well enough." And he hands the rod. Ragus, did you come down onto the boat?
Yeah, because I wanted to drink meat.
He hands you the rod and a mug of the mead. And looking at you, Eladin, he kind of pulls on his own beard and he takes the lantern from the front of the ship and he says, "Just hold this near the water and, we can bring up some creatures, or the creature I seek more specifically."
Do they like the light?
Of course they do. What fish does not?
So I hold the lantern close, but I also cast prestidigitation to make it brighter.
Nice and neat, just like my sister might do.
Your Highness, I must ask, is that black diamond in your eye a similar material as this thing sticking out of my head?
There's a moment where he really looks at you. And
I am trying to look as genuine, honest, open, and welcoming as possible. And I'm sort of taking a knee, in deference to him. My
I
liege.
have to make the
I'm just picturing you
And I'll sort of push everybody that's still on deck with me. We're guys, down. He's a big guy.
second while I make modifications to my map to fit everybody.
Now that Dimitri has suggested it directly, I am going to also hop down the side of the boat.
There's no more room. Sorry.
Yeah, I did not leave our boat.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't have you on the other boat. There's no more room. It's absolutely full up right now.
It's full now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can hold 4 people. That comfortably. Any more and you'd be falling off.
seeing.
Okay. So was there? Oh, so Dimitri, you asked that question. What'd you ask? You asked.
That.
What'd you say again?
I asked, if the material of his eye is the same material as what's sticking out of my head.
You see that, do you? You are a man blessed by my brother, I see. One of his.
Cinderella?
How many siblings do you have?
Quite a few. There's many of us, though we were not all born at the same time. But come, let us fish, yes?
I assumed you weren't dectuplets.
He just gently touches your shoulder. Cast the lure, will you?
I hold the net ready.
I got the lantern out.
I hold that rod.
Okay.
Heavy.
I want you to use your proficiency and your dexterity, Isilme.
Okay.
Double proficiency plus dexterity plus a d6.
Okay, I'm gonna roll real quick. This is a lot. Okay, so that double proficiency is 8 plus 3. Okay.
Whenever there's downtime, I rave about how damn good that meat is. And I ask him for the recipe.
Well,
I am rolling so bad, but it was a 21.
21 works. Mead is a thing created by some from their passions and love, and I am not known for my passion or love, but I know how to find things. But that is mostly what I do now. Find the things of people's desires, one might say. And at that moment, Isilme, you feel a hefty tug on the rope. And this is a very thin piece of fiber. And you, in your mind, you're like, it's gonna break. It should shatter at any moment. But it doesn't. And you almost get thrown forward. Ragus, are you gonna help Isilme?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a strength check. Advantage.
Straight up.
Advantage.
Alright, so that's 25.
Okay. You grab hold of her because she literally flies forward, about to go off the edge of the ship, and you just anchor her down. And Isilme, you feel like you're being tugged from both sides, from Ragris's, massive biceps, and then from whatever's on the other side of this rope. But you begin pulling, and as you pull, you can hear the man, the old man, just kind of giggling to himself a little bit. And there are lights emerging from the depths of the ocean. And they look large.
How big was this fish?
How large? Large, or huge, large?
Huge large, one might say. And there's a shape that's coming closer and closer to the surface as you're kind of reeling in whatever this is. And then there's a moment, and instead of feeling the whole weight of it fighting against you, you can feel the entire tension go slack on the line, and the lights just come closer and closer so fast, and then burst from the water. Everybody roll for initiative.
Son of a bitch.
Should we use initiative as a bio break?
Yes, let's do that.
Or I'm going.
All right, I'm putting AFK up. We'll be back in 5. All right, we are back to being live. And yeah, and my mic looks good. Nothing's creepy. No weird issues. We're good.
So I must say, I gotta check 2 seconds. I think I might be going nuts.
I don't see Fleos in the turn order.
I do.
Is that okay?
I do.
Okay,
I'll call it out.
just double checking.
Wisdom. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, so I'm definitely going nuts. I failed my wisdom save, so I'm going berserk.
You think after this we'll be able to sleep?
Oh god.
Nah. All right, real quick, just matter of order. I'm assuming Fleos has a higher dex than Ragus.
I guess. I mean, I have a +3.
Fleo.
You have the higher dex.
Oh, okay. And then Isilme or Dimitri. I'm assuming Isilme has a higher dex than Dimitri.
Yeah, mine's only 2.
Okay, so Isilme, you're starting us off. So basically, you're pulling and pulling and pulling,
Okay.
and this creature just rapidly bursts out of the water, and it is just this long serpentine creature, but with legs, and there are bulbous kind of growths all over it that are illuminated with light, and it has this gnashing, gnawing mouth with no eyes on it, just kind of like antenna spitting off of all different directions, and it unleashes this horrible like as it bursts from the water, salt shooting everywhere. And of course at that moment the old man goes, ah, there he is.
Do you want us to fight it or catch it?
Oh yes, of course you must kill it first before we can do anything with it.
Okay, good. Then I'm going to slash at it, starting with my red small sword, I hope. Oh, that's the wrong window. Oh, that's much better. 24 to hit?
24 definitely hits.
Yay! And then everyone's around me, so I get sneak attack and things. 20 for my sneak attack, and then 6 for piercing.
Nice, 26 damage. Excellent.
And then I will come back with my, what is that? Rapier in the other hand. For also, a 26.
Hits.
8 piercing damage.
Excellent. So 34 total damage. Yeah, so Islame, you kind of drop the rod and it falls into the ship, and you just really quickly draw your blades and begin hacking away chunks, and this orangish blood begins pouring into the ocean from the gaping wounds, and the creature... You cut gashes across it, and it brings both hands and grabs the side of the boat. And normally you'd expect that to tip the entire boat over, but it kind of pulls itself up on the boat a little bit, and it doesn't tip it over. Like, the boat doesn't even move, as if it's held in place magically. And in response, it's going to react to being hit. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, and at a 4 I'll reroll. 1, 2, so that's Islame. Mm-hmm. Oof, okay. Well, that's fun. What does it react with? Any attack? We'll do that. It kind of reacts to having been hit by taking its claw and slashing out at you, and you take 11 points of slashing damage.
Can I use my uncanny dodge to cut it in half? Okay.
Anything else, Islame?
Nope, that was my turn.
Dimitri.
Okay. I'm going to see this fucking great monstrosity come out of the water, and he's going to say, "Oh, sweet Leviathan on a stick," and I'm going to cast a 4th level guiding bolt at it.
Nice.
So roll to hit. That's going to be 26 to hit.
That hits.
Yeah, boy. And that is going to be 25 points of radiant damage.
Excellent.
And it is lit up like the 4th of July. The next hit has against it is at advantage.
All right, so it glows even brighter. The bulbs on it taking on this just immense bioluminescence, and you hit it, and there's just searing across its flesh, and you smell almost cooked eel. It's actually a little appetizing. And it just writhes in pain. Anything else?
No, that is good.
All right. Helvetius Fisker's turn. It's going to make 3 attacks. The first one is going to be against Ragus Kraguson.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to do something very surprising. Oh, wait, no, it's not my turn.
No, it's attacking you.
Yeah.
What is your
That is
thingamajigger do again if you want to use your shield or whatever?
So I'm at 19 and I can go up to 24.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. It's going to hit. Okay. You can totally handle this, Ragus. It'll be fine. 22 piercing damage. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oof. All right. Wait, dexterity. Move to here. Let's see. What's my dex save? Just straight up dex?
Straight dex.
A 22.
All right. It goes up, pulling itself onto, like, above the the line of the vessel, and just opens its gaping mouth and takes a massive bite out of the side of Ragus, drawing blood. And then it kind of opens to swallow him. And he just kind of takes his hammer and pushes it aside as it goes to swallow him, but it comes close. And then it is going to attack Isilme.
Where to use my reaction?
Isilme, it's going to hit.
Okay.
$18 points of bludgeoning damage. Give me a strength save.
Okay. Oh, jeez. 12.
You are knocked prone.
Okay.
Alright, and then last but not least, it's going to attack Eladin.
Yeah. Blood starting a fight on contact.
And it hits as well.
Fine. Okay.
Oh, well, would a shield save me?
It's a 24, so
No, not.
it's okay. This is the least powerful of its attacks.
It's only 47 points.
12 points of slashing damage.
Slashing
damage. So it comes out, goes to bite Ragus, bites into him, then goes to swallow him whole, and he kind of bats it away. And then as it does that, it whips its tail around and smacks into Isilme, knocking her to the ground. And then right afterwards, takes a claw and rakes it across Eladin's chest. That's his turn. Eladin, your turn.
Okay. I cast lightning bolt and shoot it straight through its fucking mouth. So I need to make a dex save.
What's the DC?
17.
It fails its save, so your attack succeeds.
So 26 points of lightning damage.
So, clutching at the blood, you take it and just begin writing in the air, and this static force emits from your fingertips, and lightning just appears from nowhere and slams into the side of the creature, causing skin to char and a little bit of the muscle to slosh off, and it screams, and it looks like it's taken a pretty good amount of damage, as if it's lost half of its life. Anything else?
No, I just try and make myself look small.
All right, Ragus.
Okay, now I'm definitely gonna angrily smash at this creature that just tried to eat me. I'm not too happy about it. Ooh, natural 20.
Ooh, and you have a special. Remember, you have the gauntlets.
And I have special. Actually, the full name you gave it. Actually, I don't, yeah, they're basically like black gauntlets that I'm wearing, and are magical and give me full damage on critical. And currently, my full damage on critical will be 31 points.
Make sure you do one additional roll just to see if you get another natural 20. Remember?
Yes. Oh, I did get an extra natural 20.
See, it happens. Okay. Instead of
First time ever.
Instead of 2x max crit, 4x max crit. 4x max damage.
So it's okay. Wait. I got to do the math here.
Right. So
66.
So
normally it's a 1d12 plus 7, but max.
So what? It's instead of being
31.
1d12, it's 4d12 then plus 7.
But they're maxed
But they're
out,
maxed
so
out.
basically you have to add
So
an
48
extra
plus
24
7,
points for
right?
31, so we're at 55 points.
Yeah. Holy shit. So Ragus kind of screams, and you see the stone on his head burn bright red. And you're using your big ass axe, right?
Yep.
He just brings his axe overhead and just lobs it into the side of the creature, hefting through one of its shoulders and kind of dislocating that shoulder, and blood begins to pour out. And it unleashes an unholy scream and pulls the blade out, just trailing viscera. It's still up.
Okay. And then I do my second attack. All right, this one was not as good. An unnatural 22.
That hits.
Okay. And damage. Okay, a lot less. So that's an 11 points of damage.
Bring your weapon around again and just lodge it into the side, wiggle it for a good measure, and rip it out, screaming as you do this.
All right, and then I use an action surge because I'm really pissed off, and I'm gonna keep hacking at it. Okay, I do this one. I might miss 17.
That misses, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So and then I do my last attack. 18.
That hits.
Oof. Shit. I just had 2 shitty rolls in a row. All right, and that's gonna be a what is that? Shit. What's my damage? Like 13.
13 points of damage. Excellent. Yeah, you bring your weapon around and again hammer into it, and really cutting slits across its throat, across its side, and it looks like it's just holding on now. Like it's you've done an extensive amount of damage because you have.
Great. Good, because I'm already.
All right. Well, that's all I can do.
Leos.
It's still significant.
How poorly does this thing look now?
Well, Ragus did 79 points of damage, so pretty fucking beat up.
All right.
Yeah, you can tell that first attack I was really, really angry. Everything else was kind of normal.
Hey, who's yeah, double mic on the twins over there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll say
right.
you don't want to be twins, please. It ruins a lot
Okay,
of things.
sorry. Fleos, what are you gonna do?
Okay. Wow, that was really terrible.
I tried just not to think about it. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Seems a waste to waste a spell, but at the same time, there's not much else I can do. I don't know. No one on the boat. Does anyone on the boat look particularly injured? Eladin, the captain.
I'm pretty.
Captain took some damage.
Somebody's looking worse than me.
I was already at half health for the start of this fight.
Oh, okay. You're already at half health from the start.
Didn't really have a chance to heal. I should have done some hit dice before, I guess.
I did a short.
Right. Okay, but there's not space on the boat to actually. There's not space on the boat.
On
correct?
the tiny boat to get on it? No.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just kill the thing.
Yeah, that makes more sense, I guess.
Just kill it. How hard could it be?
I mean, I don't want to waste a whole spell, honestly. It almost came in useful before managing my spells, as opposed to Eladin, who has to sleep every 5 seconds. So,
Actually, I have a lot of spells left.
yeah. But now I have to. See, I wasn't prepared for Ragus nearly finishing the bloody thing off, so now it's completely changed my.
Gee, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's great. Honestly, I'm very glad that you did it. I'm very impressed. I'm clapping on the inside, but it does change, and I apologize to everybody for taking forever to figure out what will now be the most useful thing to do. Gee. Whatever. Fine, I conjure 4 reef sharks. Waste a spell slot.
I know.
You know why
We
this is
kinda
annoying
got
for me, right?
that.
Shark.
And then let me start rolling for reef sharks.
How big are they?
They are medium.
Oh, they're only medium.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
Wait, Aladdin, can you do tornadoes?
Nope.
Oh man.
Oh well, actually, I can do little bits of storm magic.
Because if you could do that plus these sharks, we could have a sharknado going on.
I'm not giving you control. I'm just placing them around it. Okay.
That makes sense.
For brevity.
Cocked. All right. So 19, 22, 22. The other one missed.
Okay.
And then let's get some D8. 25 total damage.
Wow, excellent.
For all 3.
So 4 sharks emerge from the water and begin attacking the giant eel-like creature, ripping chunks out of it, and basically invoking a feeding frenzy. And it looks like it is barely hanging on at this point. Anything else, Fleos?
No, that's all I can do on my turn. I will move over to here, actually, just to get a better vantage point past the boat.
Luscious.
Okay. That thing's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Shatter like dead in the middle of it.
Cool.
Needs to make a con save. DC is 15.
It saves.
So it takes half. So it takes 5 points of damage.
You focus the energy with the crack of your whip, and it shoots out across, and you kind of see its skin ripple, and sections of it kind of explode with blood, but it doesn't do as much as you felt like it should.
Oh, that dog ain't gonna hunt. That's the end of my turn.
Yeah. Isolme.
Oof, okay. I'm just gonna slash at it again and hope for the best. 26 to
That
hit.
hits.
21 sneak attack, 7 piercing, 28 total.
All right, you small sword.
Yeah, we're at
You take your small sword and you just shove it through where you feel like an eye socket should have been. It emerges out the other side. You kind of whip it to the side, ripping through it. Bring the small sword back out, and then for good measure, just plunge it once more into the socket, killing it. And yeah, it's definitely dead.
Yay.
Now I'll use the net to wrap it up. Here you go.
The sharks will help nudge it into the net.
Dimitri would immediately cast Mass Cure Wounds at 4th level on us. So we would all regain, because I did just remember that we have been through some shit and haven't really healed yet.
Yeah, if you had gone sleeping like I was, instead of doing all these ceremonies.
So everybody regains 14 points of health.
All right.
Nice.
Excellent. All right. So
And then what is the old man doing?
he's kind of like chuckling to himself. Sorry, I'm just clearing some things out real quick for housekeeping purposes. All right, so we're done with roll 20 for now, and we've all moved over, and everybody's portraits are all good. Okay, so he chuckles to himself, says, "You did a very good job with that," and he walks over and grabs the creature, and it's large, and kind of lifts it out of the water. He says, "Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted." And he reaches into the hole that Isolme had kind of formed with her small sword, and he reaches in and kind of reaches in even further, and he pulls out some bulbous thing and rips it, and then kind of throws the carcass in the water. And he holds it and it's like some type of vestigial eyeball. And
The sharks start eating the
of course.
carcass.
That's what I figure. And it's a vestigial eyeball, and he says, "What a beautiful thing you are." And then he swallows it whole. And he says,
Does it taste good?
"Well, it's an acquired taste, one would say." And he licks his lips.
Thanks for sharing.
What did you just
Acquired it? Like, how
acquire?
many of these have you eaten?
In my
I
lifetime, many.
Straight up ask him, what did you just acquire?
What did I acquire? It was an enjoyable experience, one might say. Now, I believe that...
Inside check.
Fine, yeah, go do an insight check. I believe that
Roll.
you should be rewarded for your good deeds. You may keep the items that I have given you. And that 20, you said?
Yep.
Clearly, it's some type of goal for him, something important to him, something. But you also get the kind of sense that, like, that might have been a meaningless gesture, and what happened with all of you might have been the important part.
Answer was love all along.
Gotcha.
It was a test, and we passed. Well, it's a good test, a bad test, I don't know.
You are indeed strong, Master Dwarf, and you are fast, Captain of the ship. And, you... And he kind of touches your beard momentarily. You are smart, even though you don't seem to be. And
You guys, I told you.
all of you are very, very brave. In this life and maybe some others. I hope you succeed on your mission. It would be a waste for you all to die here in this storm of perpetuality.
I couldn't agree more.
Do you know why we were brought here? How we were the ones to come to this place?
I know many things. Persuasion.
Could you tell
Can you tell us? Persuasion roll.
us? 23.
23. Excellent. You beat the DC. Well.
I think
You
I
were
actually
brought
was-
here by some very powerful forces. Forces that were made eons ago to counterbalance the cruelty of my little cousins. And there was some type of event, some person, gifted or cursed as you might say, ripped a hole in a place they should not and found these waters where they were. But as I said, these waters weren't here very long ago, though they were here much longer than that.
Oh, that's never happened.
Yeah. It's confusing.
If you can bear with me, what do you know about these islands? Like, what should we know going into it?
Well, there's not much to know other than that you must successfully conquer each one if you ever want to have a chance against that King of Storms. But remember, he is wily and he will have friends with him that will try to stop you. But you seem like a very capable crew.
Any chance we can
Would
get
you
some of that?
suggest any friends for us?
Friend,
Can we count on you as a
you
friend?
already have plenty of friends, it would seem, and you are most capable. But enjoy the gifts I've given you. And he takes out a large cauldron full of mead and hands it over to Lucius. He's like, enjoy the mead. It's good at making the stories flow.
Is that the only gift?
Yep, the pole.
And do you have any idea how we would get onto the island up there? And I like point up.
Oh, you just have to ask.
May we go to the island?
Not me, silly. Speak to the island.
Oh, but of course, guys. Before I do that, are we done talking to this lovely older gentleman?
I think maybe it's time for us to go to sleep on the ship, and we can try and get on the island tomorrow.
He pulls out a pipe from somewhere and lights it just by touching it with his fingertip. And he says, "It's very easy. It's very easy. You all do seem very tired, but drink heartily from the mead. There will always be time tomorrow to do such things. I would recommend you sleep on the island, though. These waters are full of more creatures such as the one that we just pulled from the depths, and they are hungry after such a long slumber."
Will you be okay down here by yourself?
I won't be staying much longer. I've had my fill.
I take the jester's cudgel that I have, and I give it to him. So it's only fair that you give us a gift. I give you a gift.
This is very much the type of person I am. The type of being I am. A gift for a gift. This is quite good. You already have inspiration, right?
I don't think so.
No? He touches your shoulder, and you just feel this overwhelming sense of power, and you now have an inspiration.
Cool.
I'm gonna be drinking some mead. I'm gonna turn around, look at everybody. So just gotta add the fucking island to let us up. Oi, island, let us up.
No.
Please.
That is very comical, Master Dwarf. I like a good joke like anybody else. You must call it by its true name, don't you know? You must call it by its true name.
Which is?
I don't think you could pronounce it. Maybe he could, though. And he points at you, Eladin.
Yeah.
And he also looks at Dimitri and he says, "Maybe you too. One of you. Between the two of you should be able to say it."
I try and like look at the island and kind of try and look into what the island actually is, and then say whatever comes to my mind.
It's like watching a child play with his toys. It's so beautiful and wonderful, and at the same time you laugh at the simplicity of it and the attempt. And he walks over to you, or comes close to you, and he whispers, and it echoes in your head, and it's not a word. It's a sensation. You smell spring, you smell the scent of dew, you smell the forest after a rain, you feel the touch of leaves and bark and the texture of rocks. It's this overwhelming perception of just the infinite. As if you were embraced in the coolness of a living forest. And you open your mouth to speak, and you can feel it emanate from you, but no sound comes out. And a vine falls slowly from the island and reaches down and coils into a heap on the ship. This is very good.
The ship or the boat?
The boat. The ship. Your ship.
I just kind of nod at the old man.
I will watch.
One day,
Remember, he only has one good eye. He's like, "I will watch you. We probably will meet again, I imagine, in this life or the next."
I would like that.
And he turns
Very
to Dimitri for a moment, and his face grows solemn. "If you see my brother, tell him I still think about what he took from me."
I kneel and nod solemnly.
And with that, he kind of like flourishes his hand and says, "Okay, be on your way. And may you all feel blessed and ready for your future challenges." And everybody gets a D4 you can add to any roll. Any roll. Whatever. Any type of roll. And you have the rod,
Okay.
the lantern, and the net.
Cool. And you'll tell us what those are at some point, I imagine.
Yeah, I'll tell you offline.
I petition to have the net if no one wants
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. There's also the cauldron. It's a brewer's cauldron for mead.
Well, yeah, you have.
Well,
I feel like
we'll find out. Right now, I have the net, right, and Ragus has
Mhm.
the pole
and
and
I have
Yeah.
the lantern,
And
and Lucius has the cauldron, right?
Correct.
yeah, that does make
Okay,
sense.
so we'll figure it out
Um,
later.
so I assume we start climbing up the vine.
Yep.
I'm gonna go last up.
Yeah, the vine is so easy to climb. It's almost as if it's pulling you up with it, even though there's no movement, no physical movement. You don't even need to make checks.
Thank goodness.
While everyone's moving up, can I ask the old man one more question?
He's already kind of like sat down to grab his oars, but yes, of course you can.
So, there are only 6 of us, but I think there are, what, 8? 8 of the shards? There are 8 of these shards, and we were told that you can't have more than one. So any advice on how we finish this?
I think you will find that there are less shards than you thought. Sometimes these things have a way of working themselves out. DM translation, I changed it.
I was gonna say that sounds like a.
I've been thinking about this whole time, like, all right, so the kitten can get one.
All right, I changed it weeks ago. And he begins. He says, "Just think on this: the island of death, black as night, fire glowing like embers in the darkness, stormy wind blowing unending." Frozen wasteland like no other, and the watery abyss before you. Those are the challenges you must face, or have already faced. That's 5, if you're keeping count.
Yeah.
True.
Thanks.
Alright, well, so we go up, and he suggested we sleep upstairs.
Yeah.
Up in the island.
Yeah.
What did it look like when you get up
All right,
to the top?
you climb the several hundred feet, and you don't feel like you're getting tired, and like I said, it feels like it's almost bringing you up, as if the island has granted you passage. And you get there, it is a lush island. It almost looks like a golfing green. Like, everything is just this bright green. I know it's night, but you can see it in the reflections from the moon. And all of the islands are perfectly flat except for large boulders that kind of can protrude up to 50 feet. They're very large boulders. And they're covered in moss and vines, and there are vines everywhere, and gnarled old trees bending over the edge with their vines hanging down and foliage, thick foliage around them. But for the most part, it's just this endless green. And the islands aren't all at the same level. They're all slightly offset. And you see a delicate bridge. You're on one island, and there are 2 delicate bridges. They look almost like they're carved from pure ivory, and they extend to 2 of the other islands that are nearby. And you see a 3rd island that's also relatively nearby, and in the glow of the moon, you can see a large crystal, a very large crystal, in the center of that island, glowing blue, but there's no bridges that lead to that one. And then on your island is a massive stone totem. And around that stone totem are 8 discs. The bottom one being the largest, and then smaller and smaller and smaller. And you can see totems, similar totems without any discs on them on 2 of the other islands. And one of the totems has like this blue flame glowing on it.
Wait. The stones are in... Every totem has stones like that, or
No,
just one has a stone?
One has a full set of stones. The others have no stones. And then one of them, which has no stones on it, has a blue flame on it.
You making us do the Towers of Hanoi?
Yes. And I was hoping that you would recognize that. And or not, and it would be hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. I solve it recursively.
You'll have to explain to everybody.
Sure. Not like I have never done that before. To at least 2 people here.
Please do it in character.
Sure. All right, but no, I think we're gonna get a rest first, right? We're gonna
Yes,
sleep.
we
We're not
will.
gonna start
We
around.
will do this next session. So Steven, not Ragus, has already solved it immediately upon me explaining the problem. Thank you for recognizing what it was. We'll come to the solution next session when Ragus will probably solve it in like 5 minutes or under.
Just for housekeeping, are we taking a long rest so I can clean up the sheet?
Yes, we're going to take a long rest. Looking at the islands, you don't see any creatures. What you do see occasionally are these like little kind of glowing ethereal shapes moving by, but they don't seem to have any proper form, and they don't even come anywhere near you. And there are like little like outcroppings and like gathered stone structures almost, but they've been really worn so that almost they're like maybe a 2-foot wall. So you can kind of camp inside one of these 2-foot wall enclosures.
Cool. How many stones were there?
8 stones.
8. Okay, that's a lot of steps. Okay.
Before I forget again, I'm going to give Eladin my watch of action.
And I'm going to trade my cloak, my elven cloak, to you for it. Kind of swap item.
That's good.
Seems
Cool.
like you were running out of things to do last time.
Yeah, I think this works for us.
Last fight.
I'm gonna go to some of these vines, and I'm just gonna like clip a couple of them to get some like length, and I'm gonna start rolling it, like tying it off into twine, and then start working on knots.
Sure thing. All right. Anyone doing anything else before you take your long rest, which will be the end of this session?
I mean, I'll like run Lucius. I'll correct Lucius on a couple of his knots, and I'll tell him that he should focus on like a handful of knots at a time. Get good with those. So I give him some primary knots that are going to be useful for him: bowline, reef, sheet bend. Just tell him to practice those, and I will volunteer for first watch.
Excellent. We don't need to figure out watch order. It's not going to be interrupted. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, anything
All
else?
Dimitri, if he has a moment alone, would have just like a little silent meditation prayer with Sindrel, and be like, "Look, man, we met this guy who says he was your brother, but as far as I have been taught, there has only been you, the god of death and darkness, and the god of light, whose name I forget from the primer you gave us at the beginning."
Monet?
You have Saphius. Saphius is his brother, and then he has 2 sisters.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that is canon.
Well, so he has one brother, Saphius, and then he has 2 sisters, Monihith and Jorikar.
Okay.
Was not that
does it sound like
whatever you met did not look like Saphius.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm like, wait, I thought you only had the one brother. This guy is saying he is also yours. Like, please tell me what is true.
Remember, you're allowed to ask a yes or no
Like that
question.
whole shebang. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I guess I would make that my yes or no question.
That was like not a yes. Rephrase, please, as a yes or no question.
Oh yeah. Is what the old man of the sea said about being your brother true?
Yes.
So I continue to meditate on the truths that I know that I thought to be self-evident in my teachings, and fall asleep dwelling on that.
Excellent. All right. Anything else? We good?
I mean, I'm going to cook up some food.
Yeah.
If I recognize these plants.
Sure,
And I'm going to cook up part of that beast that I had.
Yeah, give me a survival check real quick. Just a fast one.
25?
25. You find 7 rations for 7 meals, I will say.
Okay. Well, I also took part of the creature.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will combine that and spread that out proportionally,
Sounds good.
so that we have food already for the next day as well.
Excellent. Okay, well, that is going to conclude tonight's session. Thank you for playing. If anyone watched, thank you for watching. And
You're welcome.
and I had a lot of fun. And good night.
And if you go on Facebook, I put the answer to the riddle.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.